Well, the sky opened up a bit today. Nice, I don't know, contrail or chemtrail, who knows. Contrails are supposed to disappear because it's water vapor in the upper atmosphere, but if they hang out for a long time, they're probably chemtrails. No, they're not designed to poison people and all that. They're multi-purpose. There's a lot of different applications, but I'm not going to talk about that. That's not important right now. But yeah, it got a little more beautiful. I made a couple my story videos, 2 of them. It was supposed to be 1, but my hand slipped off the button, and because I have to hold down the button in order to keep it going. Yeah, so I'm gonna, because it got particularly nice out today, with this, the sun, it's kind of out. It's still pretty cloudy, but it's cool out, not too cool. It's shady, won't get sunburned, and I just felt like taking a long walk. I'm gonna go further today than I usually go. I may even get close to the eagle's nest. I haven't found it. I don't know how to get there. My dad knows how to get there, but there's like one spot that you can stand that's high enough to where you can see over the tree line and look in. You can see the tree that they've got the nest in. And before the season's over, I really would like to get a shot of them. So, I got to take it while I can. Once I start to work, I won't be able to do this all that often. Of course, it is only a part-time job, so I guess I am going to have some time. Rocky would lose his mind. Oh, hey, a hawk. You can't see it. When I upload these videos, especially the longer ones, the video quality goes down quite a bit, so it's not in high resolution. And I don't have a premium YouTube account. Can't afford it. So anyway, if I find anything interesting, I'll post it. My friend Neil recommended to me that with my videos that I give y'all some history about this place. And I decided, now would be a good time to do that. You see all this? That was all of that up to that tree line where I'm standing was all underwater. That's what's left of this part of the lake. That dock over there, I don't know if you can see that dock right there, that everything up to a couple feet below that dock, all this was underwater. All of it, all this vegetation and everything, these logs, all underwater. And actually there's there's a unique story. The town of Bluffton, which is about 2 miles up the road, was an old mining town. And when they built the dam, the entire town went underwater. All the residents had to leave their homes, their businesses. And recently, when the water level went down, I think it was a couple years ago, but it's done it again because the LCRA keeps sending water south. Oh, turtles. Rocky, leave a turtle alone. So yeah, anyway, when they built the dam, come on, Rock, they were sunbathing, man. They're trying to get warm. Oh, there's those 2 ducks. Hang on, I might be able to zoom in on them. Oh yeah, those are those white ducks. There's a breeding pair of them. They're really beautiful. They have black beaks and black feet and little black tips on their wings. And they're the only 2 that I've seen out here. This breeding pair, just them, no others. That's probably a bad sign when it comes to their population, because this is for migratory birds, this lake is an oasis. But I mean, does this look like an oasis to you? Does this look like a lake? You know, this is one of the largest. This is a huge lake. You know, when the water, when the air gets up to like, the wind gets up to like 10 or 15 miles per hour, you get waves that are like ocean waves. And so that'll tell you something about how big it is normally. Oh, more ducks. Anyway, so back to Bluffton. So when the water receded, they were able to find old foundations, old wells, old artifacts from 1800s and stuff. And actually out here there are lost gold mines. One of them was Jim Bowie from the Alamo. He had a mine out here, a gold mine, which has been lost. And oh, there's this beautiful radioactive ball in the sky. Now the turtles can come out and sunbathe. Anyway, so you know, keeping an eye out for stuff like that's kind of cool. There's those birds. They're really beautiful. They're obviously monogamous. And there's Dad's boat. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to go looking for one of those lost mines, which was probably filled with mud and probably buried underwater. Another fun fact here about the dam, because the road that crosses over the dam is the 911, you know, county road 911 or something like that. Ever since September 11th, they've had it, basically it's under government protection. If you get close to the dam with your boat, armed guards on boats will come out, tell you to leave. And something else, I have a few helicopter videos, the black combat helicopters, and they were coming out every day for like a week, and every time they did, I'd lose cell service and stuff like that. They hung out above that tree line over there. On top of that, sometimes when I'm out here walking with Rocky on the beach towards the dam, which is right over there, you can't see it, these white pickup trucks, four-wheel drive pickup trucks, start driving around over there by those, you can't see them probably, but there's cell phone towers over there. Those are attached to actually a house, a couple of houses, really nondescript property. And you know, I guess my dad said that they're out here doing you know, like drills and stuff, you know, training for the helicopters from Fort Bliss. I believe that to a degree, but they're not doing anything when they do their training exercises, except they come out and then they hover and then they leave. They always hover over the same spots. They don't do any maneuvers or anything. They just come out, sit there. It's either one or two at a time. Usually it's one that'll come back with two, or they'll be, you know, like a pair. And oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? So anyway, continuing with the history lesson of this place, Native Americans used to live out here. You can find arrowheads everywhere. Something more interesting about the rocks and the geology out here is the reason that there's so many crystals and a wide variety of minerals and rocks and so much granite is because this place was impacted by a comet millions of years ago that buried itself into Earth's mantle, not a mantle, but the you know, down into the magma. And the composition of the comet with Earth's magma that blew up out of the Earth's crust and spilled all over the place out here produced not only all these crystals and granite, but also produced a unique gemstone that you can only find in Llano, Texas. No other place on Earth can you find a stone called lanite. It's a brilliant blue, sparkly gemstone that has all kinds of different colors in it. there's a similar stone in Africa called tanzanite that is also from a similar event from when Africa got hit by something from space. And anyway, so that's one of the reasons this place is so rich with minerals like gold, and with gemstones like rubies and emeralds, and you know, quartz of every different color. And you know, when it comes to the history of this place, it's mostly, it comes down to mining, Native Americans, and you know, the lake and the Llano River, which the Llano River, I believe, is one of the cleanest rivers left in the United States. I'd have to check that fact. That was something my dad told me years ago. It might not be true anymore. Last, I guess, at the end of summer, we had a huge fire out here, and there were people that said that it was a brush fire that caught up, you know, that blew up into the woods and caught thousands of acres of forest on fire. Well, I heard from the firefighters that were actually working on it. They said that a dried up lake bed or a dried up riverbed near Bluffton, that the mud itself caught on fire. And another guy that's been here forever, who's an ex-firefighter, he was saying that the water was contaminated with something. It was probably petrochemical or fertilizer or something. And when the water dried up, the mud was flammable, and from the heat from the sun, it just went up in flames and caught the forest on fire and stuff. And I don't know how much of that's true, you know, but it makes sense. And if you go online and you look up this lake, and you look up its the last time they tested the water, it's over in every category of chemical that you can think of that they test for, according to what's acceptable for human contact or human consumption. According to the EPA, which standards are lower because it's EPA protects animals, not humans. They don't even do a good job of that. But anyway, the standards are much lower for the EPA than they are for the FDA. So, and by the way, everybody out here gets cancer. Everybody. I mean, you know, I don't know a person over the age of 60 out here that isn't sick in some way, and a whole bunch of them have cancer. You know, it just seems like something that everybody knows somebody that's got cancer, and it's probably because of the water. You know, that's another good history lesson that, you know, probably needs a lot more looking into, because people come out here, they swim in the water, they eat the fish, they drink the water, they bathe in it, you know. There's that bird again, and you know what, I don't think that bird is a duck. Rocky, come on, man. Yeah, because its feet, it looks more like a crane, actually, because it doesn't have webbed toes. It's got like little flipper toes, and it's got green feet, bright green, brilliant green feet. It looks like probably a crane, or I don't know, some sort of beautiful exotic bird that got its head ripped off. Wow, there's a lot of feathers. Looks like it really had to fight. Anyway, so, and by the way, if you have any suggestions of anything that you want to see, you know, whether it's wildlife or rocks, or just if you want to hear more about me, which I don't know if anybody cares, but you know, I'm open to suggestions. And you know, if there is anything that I put on my, or like for example food or my dad, those are also things that I want to go over, or Rocky. But shit, what was I saying? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So I'm having to watch out for, there's a lot of muddy spots and rocks and stuff. So yeah, anyway, you can make suggestions for whatever it is you might want to see. And if you like something, hit the like button and subscribe and send it, the standard thing that everybody says, because I want my channel to grow. I think that this is something that there's a lot of things that I have to say that have nothing to do with this. I haven't gotten into everything yet, but it's therapeutic for me, for one, you know. And I'm tired of keeping my mouth shut in the world, you know. There's a lot of things that I'd like to talk about, social commentary wise, opinion wise, and maybe, you know, some debates that I'd like to have with anybody that's watching, you know. Because if you watch the video that I said about my channel where my face looks all goofy, because I have a real goofy smile, but the intent of the channel is eventually to you know, for everybody to kind of use the channel as almost like a forum, you know, talk about things. And I mean, that's what all these things are about, right? I mean, that's what it should be, at least. What the hell is the point in having social media and having the ability to broadcast yourself across the world if you're not going to talk about things that really matter, you know? They tell you that you can't talk politics or religion or everything has become political and religious now. So basically, you can't talk about anything at work, which is where you spend more than half of your life. And the only other places that you can talk to people is with people that agree with you. So the only place that people can have a rational, sensible debate and a relatively civil debate is through the internet, through this global communication network that we've got. And of course, you know, people drag in all their crap and say horrible things and, you know, act very uncivil and very abusive because that's their only recourse. You know, it's like sarcasm is the last refuge of a weak mind. Well, cynicism, in my opinion, is a form of sarcasm. An insult is useless in a constructive conversation or debate. And so, you know, that's why I'm making this, you know, so I can maybe, you know, I guess get together people that I know and talk to other people that I don't know. I have to be careful in here because there are snakes out here, and this is a perfect spot for them to be hiding out trying to catch field mice. Yeah, I need to get out of this crap. Underneath these patches of grass, there's huge cracks in the dirt from when the lake dried up, and that'd be a wonderful place for a snake to hide out. Let me get out of this. So yeah, I'd like to create a page, a channel, and, you know, I can talk, other people can talk, and, you know, maybe, you know, get some opinions out there in the world that actually make a difference. You know, I mean, you hear the crap that's coming out on the news and stuff. The news doesn't inform people and give them truth so that they can rationalize and think for themselves. It provides people with opinions that are supposed to arouse and anger and actually warp and distract them and divide people too. Our news has been weaponized, and our education system has been weaponized. Everything. There is no, you know, there's no greater power in the world than truth. And so the people that covet power, what do you think they're trying to control most? Truth. And why? Because if they wield it, everybody's under their control. If they conceal it, nobody has any power to choose. They can't think. They can't speak about anything because they don't know anything. So, you know, people are completely disarmed. They're unprepared, and so they live in fear. And that fear breeds two things: desperation and division. Or I guess you could call it warfare, combat, whatever. And that's the reason that I like, you know, I've been standing on the sidelines my whole life, you know, watching all these systems that we had at one point that protected us from, you know, a lot of these things that I'm talking about, mysticism and tyranny and greed. And I mean, of course, it's never been perfect, never. But there have been times in recent history where we made leaps and bounds in a short amount of time, which is usually all it takes. I mean, a human lifetime is what, 60 years, 70 years? And so we're constantly hitting the reset button on society, you know, and constantly the older manipulating the young every generation, or the older informing the young with every generation. And there's this constant struggle between truth and lies, and greed and power and money and influence and war and territory and religion and politics and all this. And usually people are blinded by that. But you know what? When people have the truth, which just means truth, not a story, just facts, a few basic facts is all you need to unravel a whole ball of crap, you know, or a ball of string. How about that? That's better. And but you know, people always feel the need when they get the truth to embellish and throw a bunch of garbage in it that makes it false. That way later on they can flip the script and use it differently for something else. So framing things in that regard is wrong, which is why having opinionated news is wrong. If we had news that simply told you the facts, what was verifiable information, without an opinion, allow people to make up their own mind as to what the facts mean, it not only encourages people to think for themselves and find their own truth with the truth, they won't be led off the, you know, the beaten path. They won't be led astray. They won't have somebody that's telling them this is right, this is wrong because you're on this team or that team. And then people will also realize more and more what they have in common versus what makes them different. That is the only thing that has any value. It's our commonality and our common needs, our common goals, and our common wealth that allows us to flourish. And that is what's being attacked and taken away from us systematically. And they've been working on things like psychological warfare, you know, propaganda and all that for, you know, like 80 years, you know. And that's only the modern form. You know, we've got that going all the way back throughout human history. And only a few little brief moments out of all of human history can we look at human society and say we were open-minded, we had common interests, and we had peace. And usually in only very small parts of the world. They were usually isolated from the rest of the world. So that should tell you something. It's like the viability of an ecosystem. Once an ecosystem is discovered by an overwhelming outside force, it's plundered and destroyed. Well, c'est la vie. So those are some of the things that I'd like to talk about in my channel, just because those are things that matter, at least to me. And I'd like to get people into the discussion, or at least get them thinking about it with an open mind and an open voice, you know. So you know, that's what I'd really like. I see something over there. It looks like a really big bird. It's far away. It's probably a big log. I don't know. It's probably just a log. Ow! Damn it! Oh yeah, that felt really good. That was awesome. Stubbed my toe on a rock. I was looking the other way. Anyway, so that's the intention of my channel. That's what I'd like to talk about. I never wanted to get a job in journalism. I don't want to be famous. I don't want people harassing me or anything like that. But if I can inspire a little bit of critical thinking, or inspire anybody in any kind of way that helps them, or if I can help give a voice to people who feel the same, and, you know, allow them to know that they're not alone in the way they think and the way they feel, I'd like to do that, because it's the only way that people feel empowered to descend from what seems to be the prevailing wind is when somebody else tells them that it's okay. So that's really what I want to say, is that it's okay. And that's what the point of me opening my mouth at this point. I'm 38 years old. I'm getting too old and too tired of living this way to keep my mouth shut. And I know a hell of a lot more than I let on. I'm not bragging. That's a cool rock formation. Look at this thing. It's like one big pillar of rock, and the whole middle of it's just like gutted out. And this is all crystal in here. That's a huge vein of crystal going through there. But you can't see anything because it's all covered in these. This is another thing about this place. These are zebra mussels. They're an invasive species that infected this lake. They are catastrophic to the environment of this lake. And you can see they're everywhere because this was all underwater. They're from China. Of course, you know, they're from China. So, anyway, just, you know, if you like my channel, share it, subscribe to it, like it, and don't be afraid to leave comments. You know, I welcome it. You know, just don't be rude. Don't be rude to me. Don't be rude to anybody else, you know, because that doesn't get anybody anywhere. Starting fights, picking fights, trying to pick on people and going, "Durr, I'm the water boy, durr." That kind of shit, no. It's not okay. You're not welcome. And if I have the ability, I will kick you off my comments, my channel, whatever, and stuff like that. If you're not civil, you don't have any reason to talk to me or anybody else who talks. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Whether they're right or wrong is not really important, unless you have something to say that counters what somebody else has to say with fact and with reason. That is welcome. But nonsensical conjecture and insults are not okay, and I will not support it. Okay? So this is my long video, and I hope that some people watch it, and I hope that it, you know, gets the ball rolling in a positive direction for everybody. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching.